Well, this shit is way too close. But all right, those joining, welcome to the episode 10. Finally made it here of Tough Lift Podcast. My name's Matt Adamchak. I'm doing this on YouTube as a live stream for the first time, so you can find me there if you want to watch this awful podcast live. But today we're going to be talking about what to focus in on training. Okay. My name is Matt Adamchak. Like I said, I'm the head coach of 4-Star Strength and Olympic Weightlifting Gym in Livonia, Michigan, just outside of Detroit. And I just like to get on this podcast and kind of talk weightlifting. Because I don't think enough people do, or they just talk about the same shit, which gets boring. So today we're going to be talking about what to focus on in training. And the reason I bring this up is because recently in our gym, we've been going through a pretty heavy phase, a lot of technical movement. The athletes are off blocks. A lot of things can go wrong very quickly. And a lot of athletes, including myself, still have a tendency sometimes to kind of get like caught up in what the hell do I need to be focusing on right now? And or we start focusing on too many things. So, what the hell do we focus on in training? In a sport where there's like 50,000 things that can go wrong immediately, what do we figure out how to fix, and where do we want to unfuck up our bad patterns and develop on our good ones? So there are like some ground rules that I like to follow when it's only not for myself, but also working with athletes. And the first one is actually just like identifying the actual problem and focus on that. A lot of times in lifting, athletes will have an erroneous movement or they'll be failing reps, and they immediately panic to what they're most recognizing as their biggest fault. So if somebody has like a weak back, they're going to sit there and be like, I'm just not strong enough off the floor. I can't keep my back tight. It's like, well, actually, you were in the toes right out of the gate in your lift off. It had nothing to do with your back. So getting them to actually identify what is going on, like what is the problem, if they're able to, and then focus on that. So this could be everything from grip. This could be everything from positioning. This could be from timing. Then you need to work to see if you can fix that problem at lower weights / like manageable weights where you're in more control versus like just putting max effort in and trying. And then keep kind of going on that for a while, making sure that you're hitting it consistently. You're doing it over and over again. You're able to kind of tweak the weight a little bit higher and higher. And then right when it breaks down, like that's where you need to recognize this is my breakdown zone. So some people, this could be as simple as like they're 85%, like, right, we hit 80%, we're good. 85% gets loaded on the bar, we're done. Other people, it's like a psychological thing to a visual thing. So like for maybe younger athletes, like the big reds come on or the big yellow plates come on for snatches. They start to treat it differently. That's a psychological thing. And that's just going to take time and practice to trust ourselves and develop movement patterns at the sub weight to that, to trust ourselves that we can do it right. And we don't react differently to that visual adjustment. But the really big thing is like, we need to work in that zone as long as we can. Working in that zone is going to allow us to actually make progress neurologically and physiologically to do the same thing correctly as many times as we can. We need to do it right over and over and over and over and over again. Like one of my favorite quotes, do it right so many times you forget how to do it wrong. And then you start to kind of challenge yourself into that next zone where we start to see the erroneous movement and see how long we can do it right there. So if 1 week, just going one time correctly is all that you got out of 10 attempts, that's fine. Expect in 2 to 3 weeks to see like maybe 2 times. This is just how the nature of the beast is. The second pretty much you start breaking down, or you've like broken down 2 times in a row, I recommend like step the fuck out of it and walk away from training. Your goal, the old adage of it takes 5,000 reps is a favorite one. It takes 5,000 reps to memorize something. What we tend to forget, like the fine line in that, is it takes 5,000 reps done correctly to memorize something. And a lot of the time we're just going to have like trash movement as beginners, and or when we're an experienced lifter and we're breaching into these new weights. Like, cool, you PR'd, your 90% is now your 85%, but now your 95% is your old 1 rep max. Like, you've only taken maybe like 5 to 10 reps there. You need to get a lot of practice at that weight to consider it mastered. This method I think works best for our sport. as athletes, because we're all about repetition in weightlifting. We need to have lots of volume done correctly to build also correct volume put into our body. Volume is not just something you simply do. You have to make sure you do it the right way, or it's just as dangerous to your career and your sporting accomplishments. Too commonly, like, athletes are too eager to go up and test if they figured it out, and they may have only like fixed it maybe 1 or 2 sessions, the problem they're having, and then they just run up the weight, and it just goes back to like their premature sloppy shit movement, proving that they haven't actually learned anything. There's been no adaptation. They're just rushing, and they kind of it's almost like running up a hill and then just never making it to the top. We just kind of run up the hill and never make it to the top. Or maybe we make it to the top one time, and then we come out tomorrow, we run up the hill, and we just don't make it up to the top again. We need to build. So the eagerness is a really big shortfall of shortcoming of newbie lifters in the sport. They have to learn the actual process. And then let's talk about the learning process itself. Like, when you're trying to focus on training, you need to also understand what the learning process is. The learning process, by definition, is cognitive, associative, then autonomous, right? So a lot of times beginners or even experienced lifters, they'll think that it's just like, boom, okay, I got it. I did it right today. It's automatic. I'm going to know how to do this shit. Like, I don't mess up brushing my teeth. That's not the case whatsoever. Like, cognitive, like, we need to be understanding why it needs to be a certain way. We need to understand how to get our body to that point. And then the next stage after we've done that multiple times is associative. We need to associate with that proper position or that proper tension with a certain position or with a certain timing. Then we can do that thousands of times, actually, to then declare that it's, autonomous. It's like air squatting. Like, the first time you air squatted, you probably weren't in your heels. It took a lot of reps, a lot of practice, focusing on that, and then understanding even before that the knees have to track over the toes, the cognitive phase of this learning process. So these are like steps that get skipped over by lifters. They don't want to take the time to have the cognitive function to understand, like, okay, I need to land with my feet flat. I need my elbows pulled out. I need to shrug up and back. I need to keep my shoulders over the bar. They just want to go ahead, set up in the position, and then just fucking drive hard and pray. And there's like no actual processing going on here for the body to memorize. It's one thing I harp on my athletes all the time. All good coaches should. In a hang position, you need to come to a complete stop in the hang. This allows your body to learn the position and posture it's expected to be at from the floor. So with all that said, like, okay, so we're working on it. We understand the steps. We're working on it. It's been a couple weeks. All right. Well, now comes almost the worst thing, is like the witch hunting starts happening. It's like, okay, well, my elbows are good. What else? Well, now I'm getting behind the bar. Now I'm landing a little bit different. Now I feel like I'm slow here. Like, we start looking for things that are wrong. We're like unhappy with the fact we finally made fucking progress. So we just jump ahead to find what now is fucked up and wrong. When really it's like, okay, well, I'm still not perfect at this. I really just need to keep hunkering down on that. And then, like, we don't want to witch hunt and just look for something to fix, but we want to still kind of work at like this main skill we've been trying to adapt into ourselves, and then maybe finding like the next big chunky thing we need to fix. But we don't want to just sit there and practice something for a week and a half and then be like, all right, I practiced that. Now I need to practice this next thing because that's perfect. We need to assume that this is going to be a longer process. So that kind of leads to the next chunk of what I want to talk about, is like, how do we actually mentally stay ahead while it's being difficult? Because working on a new skill or a new movement pattern, it's difficult, and it's most of the time it's not fun, right? Coach comes to you and says, hey, I want to adjust your setup, or I hate your turnover. I want to get that better, or I don't like the way we pull off blocks. We need to break this thing down. Like, already you're going to feel a little defeated, or it's like, fuck, I've worked so hard at this. They're not happy with it. Well, I'm happy with it. You get a little bit of combativeness in there. There needs to be like some positive talking going on. And this is super cliche, but I think a lot of people don't believe in it, or like they don't do it, so they don't actually know the benefits of it. And it's just really like working with yourself, right? It's hard, but like talking words of affirmation to yourself. And I'm not saying like everything's great, everything is good. It's like, you can do this. We can fix this. Talking yourself through the simple steps you're trying to adjust. So like, for example, if it's snatches at the thigh and you just love to fucking set up with your shoulders behind the bar, sit there and talk yourself through and be like, all right, get my feet good, shoulders in position. No, this is how I normally feel. Like, lean over more. Lean over more. There we go. That feels different. Different is good. That's what we're looking for. Or if it's like, you're struggling on volume at heavier lifts, so you're working on that. Maybe the words of affirmation of like, come on, this is what you wanted. This is what you want to get stronger at. Let's work on it. You can do this. Stuff like that. Be encouraging to yourself. Like, don't be down on yourself and say, you can't do this. Never say that shit. I hate that fucking phrase. I can't. It's better to fail before you say I can't and even try. Or like, don't like necessarily use words of affirmation, but like, demand your worth. Like, for myself, I remember, and this is it's kind of dark, but like, I lost a lot of weight in basic training. And then when I went to the army and I started having like a lot more higher level or more difficult training regimens due to where I was at, like, I had to kind of tell myself, like, listen, you lost all that fucking weight and you're getting in shape. What is that worth? Why did you do all that effort? You have worked to do this, so let's go. And it's kind of like a more darker motivation, but it's not negative, right? I'm basically helping myself recognize you've done the fucking work. You've put your body through the ringer to get to this point. Now let's use it. Another big thing is like, when something feels different, sometimes that's good. All right. A lot of times this panics athletes right away. And this is all sportsmanship. This is not just weightlifting, but when something doesn't feel the way it normally does or the way you've done it, we immediately panic and we assume it's not right. My favorite line from Coach Bob Morris that coached me is, it feels wrong because you've never done it right. Very humble pie slice that I got served, but I shut the fuck up. I listened, and my clean, went up substantially when I stopped thinking that I like the way I did it. Play games with yourself. Also, that's another thing you can do. Like, sit there and say, all right, today I have to do 3 of these snatches below my 80%, how I want, keeping my shoulders over the bar, and I can't be done until I do that. Or, last time I was able to get a drop set of 10 at, 100 kilos. Now I need to do a drop set of 12. I bet I can do that today. These are ways to kind of keep yourself going while you're working in the skill acquisition part. The human brain like really only learns, quote unquote, if I remember correctly, for like 20 minutes. And then it starts to like shut down and resort back to old habits. So you also have like a limited clock on this type of shit. So like, talking yourself through it, having a good environment to train in, having games to play with yourself, or recognizing that you are working on it and you've got to continue to tell yourself, this is good. This is what we wanted. Like, having a good environment, I want to backstep on that, is really essential also, because I think like sometimes people don't know what their environment is, right? They think their environment is a hype gym with loud music. Sometimes that's actually like the worst space to train in, because you can't learn. There's not a lot of learning environment going on. So maybe silence is the best for when you're learning, but when you're going hard, music and noise is, or vice versa. Like, right? Maybe learning in silence doesn't work for you, and you have to like do your lift and step away and go dance with your friend like an ass to the music that's blaring in the gym, because it allows you to be more relaxed and more open to the learning process. Like, learning is like, it's the flow of the river. Okay. You've got to let it go. You can't be adamantly resisting it. Talking on the last point I kind of want to talk on, because I feel like I'm rambling right now, but like, when it comes to problems and identifying your problems and identifying what you actually need to focus on to kind of sum this all up, is most of your problems actually are going to start from the start. And then you start building from there. So like, if you're losing the bar behind you multiple times, or you keep bending, having a soft elbow, those are the results of something you did. So like, you need to go up, or, go upriver, so to say, and find the issue of like, oh, well, fuck, the bar's not set up in front of me. Or, oh, I keep looking down at the ground on my lift off. Or, oh, I have no tension through the middle of my pull. That's why this is happening. Don't just look at the direct problem and be like, I keep landing soft to my elbows. I need to punch up harder. It's like, well, maybe that's happening from something else. Coaches, this is on you also. Like sitting there looking at your athlete and be like, you lost the bar behind you. Yeah, no shit. I know that as the athlete. Why? Why the fuck did I do it? Or, you're not flat. You're not flat in your lift up. Okay, well, like, tell me how to be flat. Like, coaches, this is you. If you cue something, or athlete, if you cue yourself for something, make sure you stick around or like review your video to make sure that athlete or yourself make that actual adjustment. Don't fucking say it and then not pay attention to it. And if you're in like a busy gym, like I have a really busy gym at night, it's kicking, there's 14, 15 athletes there. If I cue something, I stand by that person and I'll try to observe other athletes while that person's taking like their 2 minute of rest, so I can stick around and make sure that adjustment is being attempted and or being made. You need to actually be like making sure that shit happens. Then the last one I kind of have for the athletes is like training. You should be taking notes. Okay, whether it's digital, I think the pen and paper method has a lot more psychological effect on athletes. But you should be taking notes on your training. If you're just fucking checking boxes and you're not putting a note in there of like, today I felt like I was fast in the middle, or man, shoulders were behind the fucking bar every lift. I need to work on that. Or man, I was really fast through the middle today. I felt explosive. That's going to give you rapport with yourself. And that way, the next time you do it, you can look in your training guidebook and be like, okay, what went on last time I did these? And can I do it again? Because again, we're looking for repeated movement. That's that learning process. All right. Also, like when I was commenting towards writing down, like the psychological effects of writing your training down and fucking drawing 7, 8, 9, 10 X's because you continue to fail the rep, that fucks with you. And I think a lot of athletes are willing to sit there and miss, and don't realize that they're actually building in bad habits because they just keep taking the attempts. This is a big one. Versus, okay, I can only draw 3 fucking X's on this paper for this lift, and then I'm moving the fuck on. I think is a good visual and physical cue you can put with yourself when it comes to learning process to kind of self-identify whether you are actually learning or burning out. I hope this helps. If you actually take the time to watch this, it's probably awful, but who knows? If you get something, leave a comment. Other than that, guys, enjoy the podcast. Take these notes into your training. Go out there, be fucking successful. Learn the process. Enjoy it, and let's get after it. If you like this podcast, I only ask that you please share, like, subscribe, and also if you have any ideas, let me know. I'm open to them. That's it.